Okay, so I'm going to throw a comment up right here. This is one of the reasons why I don't like dealing with small town dealerships, podunk dealerships, dealerships that come from towns that don't have. And you guys are going to think I'm being wrong about this, but there's a reason why, and I'll explain. It's because I've worked at those dealerships. They don't like sending technicians to training. They don't have as much revenue and stuff coming in to give a technician a vehicle for a week and send him to training and pay him while he's there and stuff like that. So they're more hesitant to do those kinds of things. And unfortunately, sometimes the lack of quality and lack of education comes into this as well, just because of the people you have to work in some of these facilities. If this is 100% true, which in the dealership I would have worked at, the dealership I worked at down in Louisiana, I was the only tech in the shop that really knew what was going on. All the other techs that worked there, they were kind of lost. They were lube techs and they were interior techs, but they couldn't do nothing on motors and transmission, let alone driveline work as well. Just outside of simple brake jobs, they were worthless. They couldn't do wheel bearings. They didn't have any of the special tools to any of that stuff. It was such a small shop that they only had 4 of us in the shop, and I was the only one out of the 4 guys. Sometimes another part-time lube tech would come in. So 5 guys that were there, I was the only one that could do any of the work. I was the only one certified to do any of the warranty work. There was no other guys in the shop that was certified to do anything. So if you have that pinkish looking coolant, that orange Dex Cool stuff, the pinkish looking stuff, you are more than compatible to put VC13G, the lime green newer stuff, in that. It is backwards compatible. If you guys seen my short video, my previous video on this where I explained it, Ford says the VC13G lime green stuff is compatible with going into the pinkish looking, orange looking previous generation, but it is not compatible with that going in the VC13G, the lime green. It's actually yellow. VC13G, and you can take it and put it previously, but you can't take the previous stuff and put it in that. That's exactly how that works. Yeah. Lack of education, man. There's so many, lately there's been so many instances where people have been coming to me and telling me that I've been to this dealer and they don't even know what TSB you're talking about. I've been to this dealer and I'm in a small town and they don't even have any idea what the recall is that you're talking about. And then I show them your video and I show them the TSB and I show them you doing the work and I show them explaining it, and then they actually go watch your video, and that's how they learn how to do it, because they didn't even know that Ford had a recall on that or a TSB on that. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, what are these guys getting taught? Are these guys not being taught this stuff? Are these dealerships not sending these guys to school to be able to do the proper warranty and maintenance work and stuff on these vehicles? It boggles my mind, man. There are a lot of these small hometown podunk country dealerships. A lot of people are coming back to me saying lately, just like over the last 6 months, that I've taken my vehicle here, and until you explained what this recall was or this TSB or how to do this job, and I was able to take your video to my local dealership, they had no idea that it was an option. They had no idea that there was even a TSB out, or this was the procedure for that. A lot of people say, you know, well, Ford says that your transmission fluid's good for 100,000 miles or 150,000 miles. So if the vehicle's under warranty and the customer wants to go in and have the fluid changed at 40,000 miles, some of the dealerships tell them, hey, you're not ready for your trans service yet. It doesn't need it. You know, we don't want to do it because it doesn't need it. That's not up to the dealership to decide that. Unless you're on a maintenance plan that's prepaid, the dealership can't decide that. If you're paying for it out of pocket, service the transmission. If they don't have somebody capable of servicing the transmission and changing the filter or whatever it is that you want done, they find another dealership. That's been happening a lot lately too. Is some of the dealerships actually don't know how, and some of the independent shops don't know how to service some of these transmissions, the maintenance and stuff on them. They have no idea. They don't know. They have no clue. So they would rather tell the customer that it's not serviceable or it's too soon or something like that, rather than actually doing the service. It's been happening a lot lately. I think some of these smaller dealerships that are in some of these smaller towns, or They don't have as much volume to send techs away, are going to have to bite the bullet. Or Ford's going to have to kind of step in and start putting their foot down and saying, well, if you're not going to get your guys in here, you're not going to pay these guys enough to actually get out here and service these vehicles and be worth a darn, then why are you doing warranty work? Why don't you just sell cars and shut down your service department? Or just do customer pay stuff? Because if you don't have guys that are staying on the Oasis board, they're staying up on their education and stuff, and you're constantly on them about staying up to, you know, keeping up to base or up to par with everything, then why would you even have a service shop open that can do warranty work? It doesn't make any sense. I have so many people come to me that tell me this. Not even just the last 6 months. The last 6 months have been the heaviest, but you know, over the last year and a half, that hey, I seen the repair you did and I seen how you fixed that, and it was awesome. It gave me hope. But then when I went to my dealership and I showed them what you did, they had no idea that that was even an option, or they had no idea that that was even the fix. They were just telling people that's the normal operation of this vehicle, and it wasn't the whole entire time. Let me just put something into perspective for you. I'll give you an idea on what kind of people I work with at the small country dealer that I worked at. 2 of the lube techs were previous felons that had been in and out of jail their whole entire life, and they were constantly getting in trouble for drugs. The other tech that was in the shop, he'd never done anything with his life. He didn't even finish high school. Went right out of high school right into the dealership, sweeping floors and changing oil. Eventually got sent off to school to learn how to do interior work, and he lived in a small town with no education his entire life, and that's all he did was just interior work, and he didn't even want to touch anything else. He didn't want to touch anything with an engine or transmission. He would barely do brakes, and the education of just having a conversation with him and stuff, it just wasn't there. It was terrible. It was like talking to a child sometimes. And then a couple of the other people that they would have come in part-time were, sometimes they wouldn't even show up. Sometimes they were locked up and in jail. The town that I was in general, good people. A lot of meth going through the town that I was in. And a lot of people that were there were, well, half the people, if not 3/4 of the people at the dealership were all previous drug addicts or recovering addicts that were failing again. And then half the people that actually ran the place were as well, management-wise. I know it sucks to say that, but that's the truth. It's the reality when you go to, you know, places and stuff in general. You don't know, you never know what you're getting. It is what it is, though. It sucks when you can't go to a dealership that knows how to service your vehicle properly, or knows about, you know, recalls and TSBs, to be able to give you the service you deserve because you just paid $30,000 or $60,000, $70,000 for that vehicle. I sympathize. They're out there. And that's why I like the dealership that I'm at. Every one of these guys is knowledgeable, going to school all the time, rebuilding transmissions, engines, you know, phasers, electrical nightmares and stuff. The guys in my shop, rolling all the time in all this brand new stuff right from the factory. I'm lucky. I really am lucky to be where I'm at. That's for sure. Our owners care. Our dealership cares. But it just sucks that I've had to experience working for those dealerships that people are talking about, where I'm like, dude, there's like a message that just popped up on Oasis 3 days ago talking about what you have to do if the customer's radio locked up like this. Do you not read the recalls? Do you not read the TSBs? Do you not keep up on your education? Every time you clock in, you should be going to that Oasis page and reading what's new for the day. What has come up, because there might be a fix there directly from Ford that you may not even know about. Man, I don't read that stuff, man. I ain't got time for all that, man. I gotta pull this dash over here, man. I ain't got time for all that. Yeah, I definitely sympathize.